Do you find yourself struggling to talk to sellers when you're on the phone? And you think, seller? I hardly even know her. Well, we're gonna be covering that today in this video that I talked to a seller that's basically handing the keys to his house over to me saying, just take the house, please, just take the house, anything. In fact, he's encouraging us to go around his real estate agent to buy the piece of real estate from him and just saying, take the keys to my 3% interest rate home. So we're gonna give you a masterclass on how to talk to sellers, how to build rapport, what does that entire flow look like? You guys have been asking for more seller calls, so here you go.
Hello?
Hey, is this Peter?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Peter, my name's Pace. I'm partners with Mark. I'm the guy that finances all of his purchases. I'm just kind of like the money guy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, man. How's that house? How's selling the house going?
I mean, it's been slow. I don't know if he told you any of my backstory, but...
I've got like 20 deals I'm funding for him this week, so I don't know all your backstory. I'd love to hear more about it so I can differentiate between this deal and some of the other deals I'm doing for him.
So I actually, I work for the Campbell Soup Company.
Sweet.
And I was living out there. I actually moved out there to be closer to my family a couple years after we moved out there. And I mean, the house that I'm trying to sell is literally, we bought it in, what was it, September 2021, like brand new construction. It was the paint was still wet when we moved in. It's a DR Horton property.
Oh, that's a great company. They do a good job.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, always people are always sniveling and moaning, but it's always those people, you can never satisfy them. So it is what it is.
Yeah, those are the people on Yelp complaining about good food. You guys will notice the more calls that I make, the more calls that you watch, you will see that it doesn't matter if it's a real estate agent or a seller. I choose to have as little information as humanly possible as I walk into that conversation. When somebody else, it's a brand new person. In fact, this was a brand new person in our community named Mark that brought me this lead. And Mark had all these notes that he had all about the seller and the agent and the whole story about the house. And he said, do you want to hear the story? And you go, no, I want to just have the phone call with the seller. So give me the phone number and the name. That's all I need. He goes, that's all you need? Yes. Why? Because that way I can walk into the conversation asking genuine questions with genuine curiosity, and it comes across genuinely. The seller can pick up on that tone and go, wow, this guy's really interested and he's really getting into the deep parts of the story. In fact, what happens is every time I get off one of these calls, the student who brought me the lead goes, you found out things I did not know. And I'm like, this is why I don't want to hear the story before I get into the call. The less information I have, the better off I am. Now, when you're brand new, that's the opposite of what you feel. You feel, I have to know everything about everything about everything. But as you get experience, you go, actually, it's better when I don't know anything, because then I can be genuinely curious and ask questions out of genuine curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. A year after that, the company did a reorg, and they reload me back over here. If you can't get anything done with the house, we'll assume it for you, and we'll sell it. We'll just take it under our wing and we'll sell it off. After the reorg, all of a sudden it just seemed like the money dried up and they weren't able to do that for me. So I just started renting it. And now I just don't even want to rent it anymore because, the way the insurance has gone up, the HOA is through the roof. And I just, to rent it, I was barely breaking even.
All right, one of the most amazing strategies that I implement is obviously finding the bunnies, right? This is where the Subto logo comes from, is the bunny ears. How am I finding the pain that is in? So you can see how I extract and gather all the pain points all in one place. And then when I go in to start talking about negotiating, I want to start now putting landmines in the pathway that I know are going to explode later on down the road. Like, for example, it's in an HOA. If I don't point out that it's in an HOA and get him to acknowledge that it's in an HOA, by saying, I don't know what I can do with this house, and I don't know if I want this house, and I don't know if I this, that, and the other. I'm essentially lining out that I'm not motivated to buy the house, which gets him chasing me, and he's helping me bury the landmine. So one of those landmines is, well, it's in an HOA, I can't do this and this. Well, this is going on with such and such and such. The roof thing, this, that, and the other. Repairs, issues, da-da-da-da. And I get him to put all the landmines in place, and you will see very quickly he starts chasing me to convince me that this is a good deal instead of the other way around. When you're using the proper sales techniques, you can get the prospect to sell you on buying their property with no money out of your pocket. This is what was the most mind-boggling thing for me when I first started. It was like, is Subto legal? Why would somebody sell their house to you subject to? And now here you go, somebody's almost gonna be basically begging me to take their house over subject to and cut their entire real estate agent out of the deal because of the proper sales technique. I think that's the worst part about renting is the negative cash flow, but also this month I wrote a check this month for like $60,000 just to repair roofs and pools on a bunch of houses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I freaking hate my life.
I mean, in Florida, it's like ridiculous. Like we're 5 times higher than the national average on homeowners insurance.
So would you negative cash flow right now if you re-rented it out?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So you got a negative cash flow. I think the other thing that kind of sucks is I like living in an HOA, but I don't love having renters that are in an HOA because then you have HOA problems on top of it. Is that something you're worried about as well?
I mean, like I said, it's just one of those things where, this company loves to, promote people and move people. And I'm on a promotion list. I mean, it looks like I'm going to be set on this east coast of Florida longer, which is fine. But still, it's 7-8 hours away from that property. My sister passed away who lived over there. So she was always kind of like safety net if there was ever issues that she could take care of. So now I just got a house over there that I'm trusting in it. I'm trusting that the leasing company, the rental company is doing their job. And, there's no, you know what I mean? It's like a out of sight, out of mind thing, except for the fact that once a month I see the money get pulled out of my account for the mortgage. And every quarter that money gets pulled out of my account too. And it's just, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, what would it mean to you if somebody just took over the payments and took over all that BS?
I would love it. I'd love it even more if the place was going on fire. My insurance policy is awesome.
I love that. You will see in a lot of my calls that I make the seller believe they are in charge of the phone call. I know exactly where I'm going, why I'm doing it. You can even see me call out right here in the upcoming clip that says, I'm about to do this. Because I'm feeling the current of the conversation because I'm the one guiding the conversation. I'm putting him exactly where I want him to go, and then I say what I need to say to get him to say what he has to say for me to get this deal. So it's also known as the common enemy strategy. So I can attack the agent without attacking him. I'm not saying, oh, your agent's horrible, that's this and the other, but simply asking the question of why hasn't the agent been able to sell the house is planting a seed in his mind of the agent hasn't been able to sell the house. He then has to reply to that and either defend his agent or go, yeah, you're right, the agent, this, that, and the other. There's only 2 ways for him to go. And if he defends the agent, then I take it a whole other route. But with this one, this guy goes, well, yeah, he's kind of a buddy. He's doing me a favor. He doesn't really want to deal with it. It's not really up his head. It is exactly what I needed him to say. And so I love real estate agents. I do deals with agents. But in the situation where I'm talking to the seller directly, you better believe I'm going after the common enemy strategy. What does that mean? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that means that if the seller is not having a good time with the agent and the agent isn't able to sell the house, then my job is to align with the seller and kind of put a wedge between him and the agent in order for me to get his commissions dropped down. Because last thing I'm gonna do is pay an agent full commission on a house he couldn't sell without creative finance. Why would I do that? The agent doesn't deserve it, so I'm gonna make sure that I plant the seeds appropriately to get him to where I need him to go. Your house, is it move-in ready now, or does it need to be a little bit cleaned up?
Yeah, it's vacant. It's absolutely, like you said, like when we had after the renters, they were actually really good renters. They didn't smoke. They didn't have any pets. It was just a husband and wife that were in their late 50s that really enjoyed it.
Watch me attack the agent now.
And I just, not that I pushed them out, but I was going to have to raise the rent on them, and it made them uncomfortable. And I mean, I couldn't keep it the same from as much as I would have liked to, but the math wasn't mathing.
Yeah.
I had to raise it.
Yeah, totally.
And, but I mean, like I said, all the appliances are brand new washer dryer, brand new stove, brand new refrigerator. The flooring is perfect. And we got plantation shutters in every window in the house. I mean, we really did a nice job getting everything decorated, and then we had to turn our back on it.
Why hasn't your agent been able to sell the house?
Well, I mean, so D.R. Horton actually built the same townhouses right across the street.
Okay.
But they were only supposed to be for renting. And now, I guess the person that was originally supposed to buy it to do that backed out, and now they're just selling all those houses, all those townhouses.
Got it. And so they're flooding the market.
Right. The exact same townhouse, exact same size, everything else, and basically brand new, and they're buying down people's mortgages.
To get people in there. Have you had to lower your price a couple times?
Yeah.
And you're at a point now where if you lower any lower, you got to come out of pocket to sell it?
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay. The thing I worry about here is like, it's not necessarily a neighborhood that we normally buy in. I'm open to it for sure, but I worry about paying a full agent their commission because I don't think you want to pay your commission out of pocket just to hand me the keys to your house. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Do you think your agent would be agreeable to like lowering their commission since they really didn't?
Yeah. Ramil's definitely would. Yeah, he would definitely do that.
Okay, you think they'd do like maybe 1% versus 3%?
I mean, that would be a conversation for him.
There's a couple of things in my mind, and I think the solution is maybe getting Ramil to lower his commission so we can have a serious conversation. Number one thing that comes to mind is, you ever heard that phrase, don't catch a falling knife?
Yeah.
Okay, so like the neighborhood's getting flooded with new inventory that is now reducing my ability to do stuff with the house, as you understand.
Yep.
The cash flow doesn't work out for a regular rental. So the way I would make money, I take the house over, it's basically a falling knife. I wait for the market to come back, might be 2 years, might be 3 years, whatever. And I start making money on by year 3 or maybe year 4. Because it's an HOA, so I can't do Airbnbs, I can't do like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm limited on what I can do, and I gotta wait to make money. What do you think?
Right.
What do you think is the right way to approach Ramil regarding commissions to see if we can get that down to like a 1%?
I mean, he's just one of those easygoing guys that you don't have to beat around the bush with him.
Okay, cool.
If that's you just say, hey, listen, we had a conversation and we'd like to move forward on something, but it might involve you taking less on this deal. Is that going to be an issue?
Okay, cool. And
because I mean, it's not like he's really done. I mean, he's not had to show the property. Like it's got like one of those digital code key locks on. You know what I mean? Like he's not doing open houses. He's not doing anything that he'd have to worry about.
Okay, cool.
In fact,
So
I almost feel like my contract with him is almost up from when I showed it from the listing.
I love it. Okay, so there's a couple ways I usually do this. Either because I love working with agents. I don't have anything against them. But again, he's had the property for 6 months. He hasn't been able to sell it. You're almost at the end of that 6 months, right? And if I pay him 1%, I still feel like he's getting paid handsomely for you and I working out a deal, right?
Of course, because he already knows, because I've already talked to the people at the rental company to rent it again, and they already had people, they were going to go have people view it on Monday to rent it.
Okay, how much money would you lose monthly?
I put the number at $2,000 a month.
Okay.
So with mortgage, HOA, I'll probably break even. Actually, no, I won't, because they take their fee. So I'll probably lose
like $200,
like maybe 100. Yeah, 100. I think it's like 100 or 150 a month.
Okay, got it.
Which is, better than what I'm losing right now.
Right.
Empty.
Yeah, because you're losing $2,000 a month right now. What do you think is our next step? Do you want to talk to him about it and say, hey, I've got this guy. My name's Pace, by the way.
Yeah. No. I mean, So we've been texting back and forth about it. So
okay, if you want to chat with him and go, hey, these guys would take over my payments and get me out of this hemorrhaging, but they offered to pay the closing costs and they offered to pay your commissions, but they're wondering if we can get down to 1%. If we could do that, I bet you we could get to the next chapter of the conversation and talk about like more nitty gritty details.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll give him a shot. See what he says. Of course, I'd like to just be done with it and never have to worry about it again.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I want to buy another place or have, having that still stuck on me means I got to go 20% down on any other new mortgage, and that's kind of like, oh man, that's a lot of money I have to throw out there just to get another house. But
I think of a lot of people.
It is what it is.
A lot of people think that, but I've done this like 400 times where I've helped other people buy their next house and they don't have to put 20% down. I can show you how to do that.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Yeah, happy to do that. And I've got other sellers you can chat with about it too. We actually just had one last week that bought their second home and they were blown away. They didn't need to put 20% down. But like,
right, cool.
But like all the other things that you'll run into, like keeping the mortgage in your name. Honestly, it's really funny how people believe when we're doing these deals, they believe that's the biggest issue, but 99% of the time, the biggest issue is their agent getting in the way and wanting too much commission for not even doing any work, and it kills the whole entire deal. I walk away, the seller calls me 2 weeks later saying, hey, can we keep it going? And I'm like, I've already moved on to other houses, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, like we're at the end of our agreement. And I mean, I've known him for, I mean, he sold us the house. I mean, how much more money does he want off of it?
That's what I'm saying, bro. But I'm happy to pay him 1% and figure out all the details, and we can get into the nitty gritty once he says 1% is good for him, and we can go into all the other stuff if you're cool with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Guys, let's review everything that we covered in this call. My gosh, this was a masterclass on everything you should do. The problem is I'm so good at doing it that you gotta get broken down and go, what did you do? Why'd you do it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's easily missed on the fact that, one, we started out by building rapport, right? We built rapport. We talked about, hey, I understand how it is to run these properties. Man, they're really hard. I had to fix this roof. Oh my gosh, you're so right, you're so right, you're so right, you're so right, you're so right. Getting him on the same page. Second thing that I did is I aligned with him where he and the agent are not having a great outcome on the property. Now, he's homies with the agent, so he's gonna kind of protect him a little bit, and that's fine. But I got him aligned on the agent conversation so I could get him to get the agent to either get rid of his commission or lower his commission to almost nothing. Another thing that I did is I talked about how limited I was in my outcomes. Guys, here's the cool thing about creative finance. It doesn't matter if the property has an HOA or the property doesn't cash flow. I can wrap the property. Okay, if you guys want to know what a wrap is, go type in Pace Morby wrap. Pace Morby is the name. Or my team will put some sort of video on the screen right now so you can learn what a wrap is. This is what I would do with this property. I limit and get him on the same page with me on my limited option so that the seller's like, oh man, I don't know why anybody would even buy this house. I'm lucky that this guy would take over my payments. I'm lucky this guy would take over the payments and not make me pay him money. Okay, so I gave him all my limited option, the HOA, the this, that, and the other, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then the next thing I do is I give him homework and I line out the next steps. This is what a lot of people fail to do. Actually, I mean, most people fail to do all of these things, but one of the biggest things they fail to do is give the seller homework, because when the seller's been given homework, who's in charge? Class is in session, I'm the teacher giving him homework. He now has to report back to me, not the other way around. And I've set the tone of the entire conversation. Now the seller has to come back to me and tell me what his report card is and what he did and what his project looked like. And teacher, Pace the teacher, gets to now grade him on how good of a job he did. Now, I don't want to manipulate people, but I also want to be in full control of all my conversations because I want to make money. And more importantly, sales is a service. I'm actually serving the guy because I understand all of his entire situation, and I understand that the things that he's going through are not solving his problem, including the real estate agent. So it's time for me to line these things out and give him that homework so I can be in control, get this property under contract via subject to, and turn this thing into a wrap that will cash flow for the next 30 freaking years. Okay, so what did we learn into this call? This is my ammunition. These are all individual bullets. Okay, I will use all of these at some point in the conversation. So the first thing I wrote down was insurance, 7 hours away, his sister passed away. I then talked about why insurance is such a big problem and how I'm affected by it too, and it sucks. And he's also, the other thing you probably don't understand is that he's also similar to my age. So I can say sucks, I can say bro, I can say brother, I can say that stuff, right? I mirror the prospect. I then started asking a question, why hasn't your agent sold it? And he was very nice in the very beginning about his agent, but the more I let him talk about it, he started saying stuff like, my agent has sold shit. What does he need more money for? Okay, nobody likes their real estate agent. I'm sorry. If you're an agent out there, nobody likes you. I'm so sorry. That you're just a necessary evil for 99% of people on the planet. And the thing is like, well, why hasn't he sold it? Oh, well, because somebody's flooding the market. No, your agent hasn't sold the property because he took a listing he shouldn't have taken. And he's dropped the price multiple times. That's the answer. But I can't say that to the seller because it will confuse him. I let the seller tell me why, and I let him talk. So I use the words, Is it move-in ready now, or do I have to do renovation for him to tell me the property is vacant? Oh, how long has it been vacant? Okay, great. So how much is it costing you? Oh, dude, you've lost like $10,000, right? You want to remind the client of their pain, because what do? We solve problems. If you don't have a problem, I don't have a solution. Even if I have the solution and you have a problem, if you don't think the problem is this, then why would you accept my solution? And do you notice I never ask, well, here's what we should do. I said, so what do you think is our next step? Right? I said, do you want to talk to him, or should I try and talk to him? And I knew his answer. I already knew his answer, because the energy that I was feeling, I was like, he's going to take responsibility because this guy's his friend. I don't even know if it's a deal. I will not underwrite or look at a deal until I've eliminated the majority of the objections. Because what happens is, if I am like, wow, this is a great deal, I then get emotionally charged to make sure this deal works, and then my energy on the phone is very different versus, I don't even know, do I know the address? No, I don't even know the address. And I'm eliminating his objections. Then when we get to the agent saying 1%, I go, then tell me the address. And now I have the ability to say no. So again, people are like, why would a seller let you take over their mortgage? Could we count the ways of why this guy would just say, please take the keys to my brand new home? The biggest objection I had to overcome here, I think I got 2 or 3 killed in this. 1, agent commissions. 2, well, I can't go buy another house with this being in my name. I killed that. Do you have enough pain? There's no reason for me to do this. I should sell this with an agent. You know, I have like 10 or 15 things in here, probably accomplished a lot. The one thing I did not touch base on is what do we have? What's top 5 objections a seller's always gonna have? You wanna know what those top 5 seller objections are and how to solve for it? Click right here to watch the next video. It's gonna help you solve that exact problem and prepare for the next seller call you have.